What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. Before I begin, I want to say thank you so much to each and every single one of you for helping to make this channel possible. If you like what you see and you enjoy the content, if you haven't done so already, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, smash that like button, comment in the comment section below, and hit the bell to receive notifications. I do have an eBay store called the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box of each and every single video and short that I upload here on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. So I normally don't make back-to-back videos in one day, but this time around, I could not let this go. And again, this Optimus Prime is one of the most temperamental and difficult collectibles I've ever owned. Now, it took 3 upgrade kits. I've already done several reviews of this guy, as far as the different upgrades are concerned and what have you, and he just doesn't want to cooperate. And let me tell you, I've never seen anything like it with an action figure. So the latest upgrade kit that I got from TF Safari, this is the Go Better Studios upgrade kit, where I literally drilled out the old upgrade kit that I had on his inner thighs and swapped out the gap fillers here on back of his heels, in between his thighs, which I talked about in my previous video. And I talked about the new trailer hitch upgrade. And that's okie dokie and all. He still has the butt cheek tires, but the biggest pain in the rear end has to be these arms. The arms just kept popping out and kept popping out and kept popping out because they're on mushroom pegs. And I decided, what can I do to stop that from happening? No matter what I did, it just wasn't cooperating. So the only thing I can think of was to take little pieces of plastic. And I'm talking about true red pieces of plastic, not painted plastic. And that was hard to find, red plastic from old upgrade kits that I had, and I literally trimmed them, glued them in place. The trimming was the hardest part because I couldn't get an accurate cut. I made several pieces and I just picked the best 2 that I had and cut them as square as I could. And as you can see, it may look a little sloppy, and I did paint these and glue them in place. But what's good about this is that now the arms no longer pop out. So you have to let this sit and dry for a couple hours just to make sure that these arms don't pop out. But, I mean, now they function normally. What a pain in the butt. I just don't get... Like, Hasbro really screwed up with this guy. It's not a bad Prime, but, you know, this upgrade kit is very temperamental. You know, like I had to discover how to transform this to fold up his arms so that it could properly transform when you put him in truck mode. And that's how it's supposed to look. It's got these little sliding pieces and stuff, and you have to do it in a very specific order because you could potentially break these. But it's the swapping of the arms that is probably the most challenging of this, because at least on my copy, I can't really speak for anybody else's copy, but I literally had to fill in that gap right there with a chunk of plastic, glue it, paint it, and, you know, you're really not going to see it because he's going to be up on a shelf and all that kind of stuff. But if you watch my previous video, his arm just did not want to stay in place, no matter what I did. And I tried sanding, I tried clipping little burrs off of the mushroom peg. That didn't help. It just kept popping out. And now, having glued and painted these pieces in place, as you can see right there, I think the best way to do this so you can see how this came out. You can see those plastic pieces right there and right there under his armpits. Now it holds in place as far as his arms are concerned. So, I mean, I'm going to do the full transformation. Again, this is a very temperamental Optimus Prime. It's not a bad Optimus Prime. It's just there were a lot of bad design choices that went into this Devastation Studio Series Prime. I know they were probably trying to keep this, at a budget. Actually, his head's got to flip first. So, like, you have to go in a very specific order to make this all work. It's just bizarre that you have to just take these steps to get him to transform correctly and in the proper order. So now, again, you have to be careful with this because you have to slide this panel back, flip his forearm out, flip his hand in, and then collapse all of this to make it work. And then even that could be a pain because then you have to, fiddle with him until everything clicks into place. And also, you don't want to manhandle this thing because these 3D print, these, I guess they're 3D printed. See, you have to flip this panel around first to get it to work. Then you have to flip this around and then fold his arm in, or fold his wrist and fist in, so that this way you can collapse all of this. And then you have to fiddle with it a little bit to get it to fully fit. And then boom, there's the front of the cab in Gerwalk mode. And then as far as his legs are concerned, you got to flip out the new panels here for this upgrade kit to get these wheels to come out, so that the new trailer hitch is exposed, which looks a lot better than the factory one. And then, of course, these fold out now, and they flip. You have to collapse this into itself, which, again, it could be very stubborn and temperamental. As you see what's happening with my copy, everything just wants to do whatever it wants. And again, you kind of have to fiddle with him a little bit. Get his legs collapsed, right? Take these new fuel tanks, and again, I said this in the previous video, you have to be really careful here because you could potentially break these and then flip them around. And then boom, that's pretty much it. That's Optimus Prime in his new mode, his new truck mode. That looks a lot better with the new trailer hitch and the new fuel tanks. I still think these are wrong. I think these have to be reversed. That's what I'm going to do. That doesn't look right. That's what I saw in the photo, but it just does not look correct. It looks like that larger piece wants to look up. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I think that's the way it's supposed to go. Oh yeah, that looks much better that way, because it's just going to drag on the ground if you're trying to roll them about. So you kind of want to put these like this. So we're going to make that correction right now. Yeah, that looks way better, I think, in my opinion. So, I mean, again, it's not a bad Prime. It's just very irritating, very annoying that you have to go this far just to get this particular Prime to look like this. So he still has the crescent wrench, toes, what have you, but those armpit pieces are just irritating and annoying to fix. Because on my copy, they just would not stop popping out of place. Let's get him transformed back again. You got to be careful with him because he's so fickle and so finicky that if you don't transform this guy in a very specific order, I can almost guarantee you're going to break your copy after upgrading him. And you want to fold that in, get his lobster claw feet out. Then you got to be careful with this. You got to take his arms out because you don't want to scratch that plastic, because this is painted, I want to say ABS plastic or molded plastic. It doesn't look 3D printed to me, but you want to get these out first, because if you don't, You're going to scratch that red paint, and you're going to end up painting him. And then you have to collapse his arms in the proper order, and then you have to remember to take this piece and slide it, because otherwise you'll end up breaking it. Again, fold out his fist, fold up the steps, fold in that piece, and then you can go ahead and flip this around. He's just so temperamental, and it's a shame because it's a nice little budget prime for a lot of collectors, and especially for kids. If parents don't have a lot of money and they want to get themselves an Optimus Prime on a budget, this is definitely the way to go. But man, if you want to upgrade this guy, I mean, you're going to go through the ringer. Now, obviously, this is the best upgrade kit available, in my opinion. But man, is it stubborn, especially the armpits. And again, on my copy, these mushroom pegs just kept freeing themselves. Now that doesn't happen anymore because now I've added that fix. And you're going to want to paint that. And be careful gluing this because, man, everything I tried to touch, I was getting glue on my fingers. I had to constantly wipe off my fingers and use rubbing alcohol and methylene chloride, which I don't recommend, by the way, to get that crazy glue off my fingers so it didn't spread all over the figure. I got one little slight blob right there, one little dab there, and one little dab there. It's really not noticeable. But what a pain in the rear. It's such a shame. It's a really nice prime, but to go through all of this just to get him to look accurate to the video game and even the G1 cartoon, it just leaves a lot to be desired, unfortunately. You can pose him, you can move him, he's got great articulation, but man, those arms are just a pain in the rear end. There's really not much more to say. I hope I never have to review this guy again. And if any more upgrades come out, I'm not upgrading this guy anymore. Jeez, what a pain in the butt. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's not the best fix, but, if you have the time and patience, just, exercise caution with that glue. As you can see, everything looks pretty decent. You have to fold these arms out to notice this. That I actually added these plastic pieces in there, even though they leave a lot to be desired. And after painting them, you really don't notice it that much. But it was the only thing I can think about, or the only thing I can think of or conjure up that would make this work so that these arms don't keep popping out. You see, now I can move them all I want, and they're not moving, which is good. Or at least they're not popping out of their mushroom joints. So at least that's solved. And that should be it with this guy. I hope I never have to fiddle with him again, because he is just annoying. Oy, 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 folks. It's a nice budget prime, but to get him to look like this, it's just a mixed bag. Again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you want to upgrade yours, go have at it, but just be careful, because like I said, this was a pain in the butt. To get him to look like this, I had to drill out those pieces to get these to work. And again, there's a stress fracture on there, which, you're really not going to notice unless you're looking for it. Change out all the panels because they're a little bit more color accurate to this prime. It looks a lot better. But the arms, you really have to be careful with, folks. I can't stress this enough. Like, you really have to go through the motions with this guy to make sure that the transformation goes smooth and that you don't break it. See, even now, like, I worry that I'm going to snap this one day. Just show due diligence and patience with it. If you happen to get this Go Better Studios upgrade kit, it does work, but it's not without its flaws. So there you have it, folks. That's my solution to fixing a very annoying Optimus Prime and stopping his arms from popping out of place. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Again, I normally don't do double features here on the channel, but I could not go to bed without trying to figure out a way to remedy this. It was just bothering me. And, well, there it is. It's done. So, good luck with yours. This guy is definitely going to be put up on a shelf and never messed with again unless I get bored. Anyway, take care. God bless. Stay safe. I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. Like, comment, and subscribe. And check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box of every video and short that I upload here on YouTube. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. I'm just fed up with this thing. I'm going to bed. Take care, everybody.